So that big story to tell you about. The US intelligence community has accused Russia and Vladimir Putin personally of meddling in last year's US presidential election through hacking and propaganda. Well, now, these accusations are very serious, but the report itself says that its final judgments do not imply that there's any evidence, nor does it prove anything to be fact. Well, the document also states that hacking is one of the main tools of the alleged influence campaign, but it fails to provide any evidence at all of it. Another major point is that what it calls the RT, propaganda machines interference in elections, to prove that they've used very outdated information, as we'll show you. The report claims, in fact, that one of the goals of this campaign was to boost Donald Trump's election chances, which he himself keeps denying. RT is also directly targeted for allegedly taking the side of Trump, as if that would be a crime. With more is Caleb Mopin.
Finally, the intelligence community was going to release the information proving that Russia intervened in the elections and secured a victory for Donald Trump. Well, this new report lacks something rather important, real solid evidence. In fact, it even comes with a disclaimer that the sources used cannot be fully trusted. Intelligence officials have, quote, high confidence in these sources, but stipulate that high confidence doesn't actually constitute fact or certainty. And not all agencies even subscribe to that. The NSA, for instance, says that they only have moderate confidence here.
You know, if you have high confidence, that means you don't really know for sure. They should have included at least some evidence of what they're asserting, and they haven't done any of that. They're making these kinds of decisions now without fundamentally finding out what really is true and what the facts basically are. And they're not really focusing on facts or truth. They're basically looking at speculation, fabrication, and hyperbole, basically.
Much of this report into hacking doesn't deal with computer hackers at all, but instead focuses on this channel, RT. 7 pages of the report look for some sinister hidden agenda in RT's reporting, aiming to influence politics and fuel discontent. So what is one of RT's nefarious covert activities? Changing the logo to, quote, not scare the audience, and seeking to raise its viewing numbers by being big on social media.
To blame RT for carrying that information is like telling any newspaper that it shouldn't follow the scandals. The case being made against RT is spurious. And it frankly is, again, this whole concept of this administration and of the Clinton campaign and of the State Department is they do not want to accept responsibility for the outcomes based on their actions.
We've heard it all before, yes, because RT's web team can tweet a little bit faster than the folks at WikiLeaks. This proves that somehow they're all part of a big conspiracy together, taking direct orders from Putin. Another one of RT's big crimes was staging third-party presidential debates to highlight lesser-known candidates. Oddly, CNN had town hall events with the Green and Libertarian Party candidates also. Are they also in on the plot?
Joining us now is the Libertarian presidential nominee, Governor Gary Johnson from New Mexico, and his running mate, Governor William Weld from Massachusetts. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. What an opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
Many Democrats looking forward to nominating Hillary Clinton to become the first woman president. Clinton is not the only woman in the race, though. Dr. Jill Stein.
Remember how the intelligence officials don't fully trust their sources? Well, they should, because when it comes to accusing RT of being so closely tied to Russia's foreign policy apparatus that its people head RT departments, their information is almost a decade old. None of these people occupy these posts. Back to hacking now, what the report is actually supposed to be about. It shows that no tampering with voting machines or vote counting took place, but insists that Russia was involved because somehow it influenced people's minds. Remember back in 2014 when the U.S. ambassador was caught on the phone personally selecting the new president of Ukraine?
I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience. He's the guy, you know, what he needs is Cleach and Tony Book on the outside. He needs to be talking to them 4 times a week.
That's not the same as some quasi-government trolls who tweet and post on web forums, right? Now, the report that's available is only the declassified version. This leaves the public assuming that smoking gun evidence is in the classified version of the report. But Donald Trump has met with the intelligence community, seen classified materials, and he's still not convinced. This has the American people asking, if there's proof, why can't we just see it? And is there any? Caleb Mopin, RT, New York.
Well, fair enough question you think to ask. Now, that lack of evidence has prompted a number of journalists to therefore mock this document now.
Is it just me, or does the report look like something a few journos compiled over a couple of days, not serious intel agencies over months?
It's shocking how much this report was hyped, how literally no effort was made to include any evidence at all.
The intel report on Russia is little more than a collection of assertions. Understand protecting sources, methods, but it's weak.
U.S. government's declassified Russian hacking report has the curious disclaimer that it is based on watching TV and reading tweets.
There is no fact underlying this. There are analytical assumptions. And you can tell that because whenever they use the language like, we assess that, or we believe that, or it is likely that, well, that means they don't know. Because if you knew, you could say, according to SIGINT, according to a human source. And you can clean it up to release it in public. You can just say, according to multiple sources. We know that, boom, you state facts. This thing is it's a joke.
There's no new evidence, and the evidence that has been shown does not connect the hacking to any intelligence agency. It is pure speculation. I think that this deserves a deeper investigation because based upon invalid assumptions and lack of proof, they have created strained international relations between the U.S. and Russia.
Well, you might expect, wouldn't you, that such serious accusations will be backed up by rock-solid evidence. However, it seems that even when you look at the minor details, so much is out of place here. We see that the report has got big flaws. For instance, at some point they refer to an article in Russian media, but then they mix up the dates. If you think about how that could have happened in the US, of course, they put the month first, then the date goes second, while in Russia and Europe it's the other way around. But it's just another little small point of so many things you think could be wrong here. Craig Murray's got some thoughts about it. He's a former UK diplomat and whistleblower. Hey, when you look at this report, there is so much vagary, so much kind of misinformation, dates that are wrong, details that are wrong. You think for such a high-level report like this, with such serious accusations, that it would be pinpoint accurate. There'd be this smoking gun, and it's not there. Why?
Well, I think it's hilarious. When I was sent the report last night, I genuinely believed it was the Daily Mash or some other such humorous site which had done a spoof, because it seems like such a mockery of what we've had, which is weeks and weeks of assertion without evidence. And this is so totally devoid of evidence that I thought it must be a joke. And when I discovered it was actually serious, I'm really taken aback. And I do urge everybody watching to get online. It's quite easy to find and read through the thing, because it is absolutely an astonishing piece of work. It contains no evidence whatsoever. But of course, the reason that it contains no evidence whatsoever is there is no evidence, because the assertions it is making are factually untrue. So there couldn't be evidence.
Yeah. Why is it being so ill prepared? This is simply down to, just to reiterate what you're saying here. You're a well-respected diplomat. You're an intelligent man. You were sitting down to read this thing last night, this smoking gun. It wasn't there. The information wasn't there because there is no smoking gun. Yeah, that just get to the point. That's how you see it.
I think that's absolutely right. I mean, WikiLeaks have been absolutely plain, and I know that this didn't come, the intelligence which WikiLeaks received didn't come from Russian hacking. The report makes assertions. It asserts, for example, that President Putin must have ordered the hacking. It doesn't prove that the hacking or the election influencing happened, but it says if it happened, he must have ordered it. And then the evidence it gives that he ordered it is the fact that after the election, Russia did not question the validity of the election process. And that in some way is supposed to prove that Putin ordered the process be hacked. It's nonsense. I mean, there's so many illogical assertions made, and assertions just wildly built upon nothing.
Some of these hacks that came out from WikiLeaks, the assertion is from America that some of this was leaked with Putin's knowledge to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks, in fact, denies that. Julian Assange has come out and said, no, this information you're talking about, the DNC, etc., it wasn't anything to do with Russia. You've got your own thoughts on it, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I mean, Julian is right. It's not from Russia. There's no doubt about that. But it's not.
Who do you think
report is
leaked some of this
scary because
information to
not-
WikiLeaks? Because I know you've gone on record to say that you had somebody in mind, or you thought you knew where it may have come from.
Yes, I know who the source is, and it is not a Russian source. It's an insider source. But it should be said, of course...
Insider, tell us more.
One...
I'm so sorry to such a serious subject. I just want to get a bit more on it. An insider to where, what?
I'm sorry if you forgive me if I don't go into much more detail, because obviously source protection
Well, on the
is
Russian
extremely
side or the
important.
American side?
But it's... Oh, definitely on the American side. Sorry, no, that's plain. I mean, this is from a Washington insider. It's not from Russia. But this report goes further than, of course, the hacking allegations. It also tries to undermine and invalidate the journalistic work that RT does. And it makes out that it is illegitimate and wrong for a media organization to broadcast any information which doesn't go along with the American government's wishes. And one example of that is the report states that RT broadcast a program critical of hacking, and that proves that RT is setting out to undermine the American economy. Again, that's an astonishing assertion, that there are millions of Americans who are against hacking. It's a blatant attack on freedom of the press, and a blatant attack.
I've been here for 11 years, as you know, and each and every
debate.
day it makes my eyes cross to hear how we're portrayed, what we're trying to do, etc., etc., etc. But hey, it's free speech, and thank you for being online as well, Craig Murray. We really appreciate your time. Have a good weekend, so thank you.